The reckoning. She had spent years chasing something, success, love, validation, only to find herself emptier with every step. The world had given her many names: achiever, survivor, perfectionist. But beneath them all, she was tired. She had done everything right, or so she thought. She worked tirelessly, building a life that looked whole on the outside. She climbed corporate ladders, collected degrees, smiled at the right times. People admired her strength, but they did not know the war within her. Behind closed doors, she drowned in the noise of her own mind. Mistakes haunted her, relationships she had ruined, chances she had wasted, words she wished she could take back. No matter how much she accomplished, the voice inside whispered, "It's not enough. You are not enough." And so she kept running from her past, from herself. But life has a way of forcing a reckoning. It began subtly, a restlessness she couldn't shake, an exhaustion that sleep could not heal. Then, everything unraveled at once. The job she had sacrificed for slipped through her fingers. The man she thought would stay left without looking back. Friends grew distant, as if sensing something in her was collapsing. Alone in the wreckage, she fell into old habits, numbing, avoiding, pretending. But none of it worked anymore. The distractions no longer dulled the ache. One evening, with nothing left to run to, she found herself driving with no destination. The city lights blurred as tears filled her eyes. She pulled over on an empty road, stepped out, and let the silence swallow her. And then something shifted. It wasn't the voice of the world that spoke. It wasn't even the voice of her fears. It was something deeper, a voice that had always been there waiting for her to listen. "Enough. You have carried this long enough." She dropped to her knees, but not in defeat. This was surrender, the kind that doesn't weaken, but restores. The weight of years pressed down on her, and yet for the first time she wasn't afraid to face herself. The false self, the one who had lived for validation, for perfection, for the approval of others, began to crumble. She saw in painful clarity how she had abandoned herself over and over again, how she had sought love in places that could never fill her, how she had mistaken success for worth. And yet, in the midst of her undoing, she felt something else, something she had never let herself feel fully before: love. Not the fleeting love she had chased, not the conditional love she had begged for. This was different. This love was ancient, unshaken, rooted in something beyond the world's measures. It was the love of the divine, the God within, the higher self she had buried beneath years of doubt. "You were never lost," the voice whispered. "You only forgot who you are." The wind moved around her, and she breathed in as if taking her first breath. The ache remained, but it no longer consumed her. The past did not change, but it no longer defined her. She rose from the ground, no longer bound by the illusion she had once clung to. She had met herself, and in that meeting, she had found God. She was no longer running. She was free.